Pledge.
No, I don't think we do the pledge at the,
What I was going to suggest is we select a chair first,
yes, I think that would be good.
and,
I would like.
Well, I would like to nominate Robert.
I would like to nominate.
I'd like to nominate.
okay, well,
I think by acclamation, you are the chair.
okay.
Okay, and then we can go back to do public comment.
Yeah, so, well, that would be the next thing on
Yeah.
our agenda is public comment, and we do have public comment from Mr. Campbell.
Yeah. For those
I'm sorry,
who
didn't
don't
hear
know
your
me,
name?
My name is Jamie Campbell. I sometimes come and give public comments on behalf of the FA, but today I'm coming as a member of the mathematics department and also a member of the Planning and Resources Committee. And I'm giving a comment about agenda item 3.3 project updates.
Mhm.
And if you follow that link where it says the project update, it goes into a Google Doc. And if you scroll all the way down to the section on Antioch University, that's section 9, there's a link to the 2023-24 Fusion Space Utilization Report, which sounds so high tech. And then it's just about efficiency of our classroom. But
Well, it's about a lot more than
I'm
just
sure.
efficiency, okay.
but there are some serious errors in this document that I just want the committee to be aware of. I don't know if we're going to talk about this or get into the weeds today, but just if you're looking at this in the future. For example, in the IDC, which is where we have math rooms, there are 4 rooms listed as mathematics. 2 of those are part of the math lab and 2 of those are classrooms. But there's like 4 other rooms that are part of the math lab and about 5 to 10 other math classrooms that are listed as general assignment instead of mathematics.
Can I just interject? Yes. And as part of the FMP process and as part of Cambridge West, that's one of the things they're doing is doing a full assessment. There's only one time of the year that we're able to do upgrade or, updates to this. So those are that's the kind of information if you wanted to send it along. Absolutely. My hunch is this hasn't been updated the way that it should, and there's an assessment happening as part of the FMP. So, and it's people who understand Fusion and how to put information in.
So what's the mechanism by which that gets updated and how I participate in that?
So if you know of things, if you've looked through there and you're like, okay, I know
And
the
there's
IDC.
English errors as well, the English department.
Yeah, so you could pass those, so you could send those along to me and I'll make sure they get to the consultants.
Okay,
And there's a deadline every year. I think it's October 1st, but I can't remember. It might have changed.
okay.
Where Fusion gets updated. And these are the kinds of things that need to get corrected.
Okay.
There can be a lot of reasons why. I mean, this whole system was redone in 2010. And I remember being at Oxnard College and we were just getting trained on how to update it in 2012. And so there's a lot that's happened in that time. My hunch is it may not have gotten updated the way it
Okay.
should here. So if you just let
I
me know,
will, and I'll
I'm
let
happy
English
to,
know to the.
yeah, I'm happy to pass that along to our consultants.
And this will also be information that will be in the
In the
Facilities-
facilities master plan,
facility
yes.
master plan.
So I just wanted to make the subcommittee
Yeah.
aware of this. And the other half of my public comment is that I'm on the Planning and Resources Committee, which was on the changes. We were involved in making a recommendation for the changes to the lease for Antioch, give them some additional rooms in the most current lease. That process went really well. And because this is connected to Antioch, I thought I would encourage the district to once again go to Planning and Resources if they are contemplating any future changes to the Antioch.
Can I also respond? I know it's out of order, but yes, and we had that event here for Antioch last week. And I talked to the provost for both centers, the LA and the Santa Barbara Center. And it's our intention to understand what it is they are thinking of and then to talk to PNR so we know what it is. And we can come and have them talk about it, but we don't really.
Well, that's what we
even
did
know
at
what it is.
PNR too. We had
Yeah.
people come and talk to us.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a high level conversation and then have PNR have that with the more people on the ground.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Have a great meeting.
Thank you.
I have you for a little longer.
No, I gotta go back
He's
in.
gotta go back. He's gotta do a workshop. Thank you for bringing that.
For coming.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all. Have a great weekend.
Nice to meet
Okay.
you.
Could I make an addition to what Jamie
Sure.
just said, this document on fusion? Because it appears it's not only math and English, because my accounting classrooms is only one on there too. So it appears that several departments are affected. How do we make department aware that they should look at it and then bring this to your attention?
I think what we need to do is start with the wholesale review of it that a consultant is currently working on, because they understand how the state measures things. And then once I know that, I do not want to bombard these folks with information, because there's information in here that isn't like, for example, you asked about efficiency. It's not about faculty efficiency. It's efficiency of even office spaces in there. Like there's all kinds of columns and things like that.
Right, I asked for the abbreviations.
Right, I understand that. So what I would say is, you're not part of this process at this point in time. I don't want to invite everybody across the college to go and look at spaces, because not everybody understands what they're looking at. We have somebody looking at this right now.
Yes, but I believe you just recommended to Jamie that he emails or the math department emails to you.
Because Jamie is on PNR and he has a level of knowledge about the classrooms and things like that. So what I'm trying to do is keep it with people who understand specific things. I really would appreciate having an opportunity to get information before we have an onslaught, because it's going to be very hard for somebody who's in the middle of studying all this to suddenly have a whole nother source of information. And some of that may not be correct according to how Fusion is programmed. And we have no control over Fusion programming. It's programmed by someone else. Okay?
So then I have a question. So at the moment, we have if we're gonna talk about it,
Mhm.
we have a process going on for the facilities master plan.
Mhm.
And sounds like there's also a process going on to update the 2018 Fusion.
To update the Fusion so that it accurately reflects how we're using space. Like if you look at the Fusion, we're all trying to figure out why it says we have the number of labs we have.
Okay,
I don't think we have the number of labs it says we have, and that's what we're trying to figure out is, why are they classified as labs?
okay.
Because as we're looking at our facilities master plan, as we're trying to prioritize bond and other types of projects potentially, we have to look at what's called our cap load ratio, like we're overbuilt on lecture, or we're about right on lecture, or we're overbuilt on labs, whatever the case may
So
be.
we need accurate information. Is part of
Yeah.
this, just out of curiosity, is part of this that there may have been mistakes in 2018, or there have been changes since 2018?
It could be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Fusion it's a beast. Like if you
Yeah.
go to that website, to the website on the Foundation for California Community Colleges, it's like 92 million square feet. And I mean, it's crazy.
Cool. Yes.
So I had a question, just what is Fusion? Is it a software?
Yeah, it's a
program?
software.
Okay, program, okay. Or, because I didn't know if it was a company.
No, it's
Or-
a software.
Okay,
Yeah.
statewide
Yes, it's
software,
a
okay.
software. It is, let me see, I always forget what the acronym is. It's the Facilities Utilization Space Inventory Options Network.
Thank you.
And we were provided this binder today, and
Mhm.
there is a section in there that has the summary.
Yeah.
Fusion, yeah. Yeah, oh, yes, I did, yeah, but it didn't say, it didn't explain what Fusion was.
Yes.
Will there be an opportunity at some point for, maybe department chairs or somebody to verify the information that's in the Fusion and, so we have another
Yeah.
set of eyes looking at it. So-
Yes, and that's one of the questions that I have for the FMP process is, where is that validation of the information? I think they're actually going through and looking at every single thing, just like you see there are pictures here in the Fusion report. That's what you have to go back and assess and say, okay, wait a minute, is that still there? Because in some cases, it may not be there and it may never have been reported to Fusion, may never have been updated.
Right.
Yeah.
So there will be a second set of eyes looking at it after the fusion consultants are done.
Yes, because it's part of the FMP and then also the fusion data is part of what they've been working on as part of the budget sustainability work group, looking at classroom efficiency and how many hours are we using the classroom
Right.
and how are we doing all of this?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
One last, comment, I had, suggested while we were, assembling that maybe this committee can have a walk around
Mhm,
campus. and
absolutely.
really take a look at these, buildings because it would give us a better sense than these pictures that are, not very.
We
clear.
did that. We used to do that PCC. We would identify, if there was a building everybody needed to see, or when we had the bond, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, we did a tour for one of our meetings so that the members of the CBOC could actually see the buildings that were being worked on.
And it would be good if, we don't know what's gonna be in a bond if we do a bond.
Right.
Exactly, but we have an idea what buildings it
Mhm.
would be, and we should focus on those.
Mhm.
I did it last year and it was very.
We did.
I did it on my
You got
own.
onboarded, right? I didn't, I was during
Yeah.
COVID, I didn't get onboarded, so.
No, and I'm happy to do it again.
Yeah,
Oh, good, good, yeah.
no, I think that'd be a good use of our time.
Yep.
So, I see the next item on the agenda is meeting schedule. And I don't know how we have a calendar.
Well, I guess my question in that was, how often did you want to meet? I was going to recommend maybe meeting once a month over the next few months, because at the next meeting, I would like you all to get an update on how things are going with the facilities master plan and where things are, and and then on the next board agenda, we'll have a contract to do at least that feasibility, the polling. I don't know that we'll have any data by that, but at least you will get an update on where are we with the facilities master plan.
I think once a month sounds good. We can always, if necessary, add additional meetings
Mhm.
if it's really required.
Are you guys okay if we hold off the meeting until the second week in March?
Yeah, because you're going to be gone for,
And I am.
Starting February 27, I'll be gone for
Oh,
a couple weeks.
okay,
me too. So this is really good.
that's perfect.
So do we want to do it even before then?
Oh, I could, well,
Oh,
Or is that?
you know what? I need to talk to Brian about
Okay.
that to see if there is something to be presented. So I just wanted to get a sense of, would once a month work for you? And then I'll work with Brian on when he thinks there'll be something
yeah,
from the facilities master
Yeah.
plan.
and I'll be home on the 9th of March. I'll
Okay.
be Returning
So 9th. So you're gone from when to when?
February 14th until March 9th.
Okay,
And I'm gone from February 27 to March 17.
okay. We will see. Because we don't want to meet, just
about you?
meet.
I'm not gonna be gone.
Okay.
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 Okay, so, and then that brings us to item
Mhm.
3.3, project updates, and
Yeah.
just let me say that I understand the reason we have this on the agenda, is we're not obviously making decisions, but it's more of an informational
Yes.
session for us, an opportunity for us to ask questions about these 10 projects,
Mhm.
which are ongoing.
Right.
And I think all of them have financial implications.
So
And
Jason, can you pull up the document? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you could do it.
I just found out. So which?
Yeah, the project updates. Okay, so I just have it up there so that everybody can see it. So the first one, as you see there, is the facilities master plan. And basically, they're working, as it says there, on the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You see the previous facilities plan. And basically, what they're doing is they're trying to do interviews, they're trying to gather data, and then what you want to do, what we'll do then is planning workshops. And this is why I think it's important for Brian and his folks to come and talk about exactly what they're getting. It's, as you see there, they meet every 3 weeks and they have a website, so you can keep
Yeah,
track of.
I looked at their website and
Mhm.
it's very good. It's got a lot of information on it of where they are, what they've done so far. It's very,
Mhm.
very good.
Did they have a projected completion date on it?
Yeah, May.
Yeah.
May.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's a
Yeah.
little better than what we
Yeah.
talked about.
Well, part of it is that it's, it's not hugely, it's not surprising what would be in the facilities master plan in terms of how do we utilize space and what buildings do we need to, what buildings have come to the end of life. It's not like we have, like shiny new programs and we're gonna suddenly need a shiny new building. I think the one exception is if we do wind up doing something with Oceans Collective and that building or project materializes, that would be an
Mhm.
example. But for the most part, we need building replacements more than anything else and
Yeah.
consolidations and getting rid of the temporaries, those
Yeah.
kinds of things.
One of the things that I really liked is, oh, I'm sorry, Anna.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you?
I was just gonna say, I think one of the things that, was, interesting to me and that I am really, hopeful that we can prioritize too, were the deferred maintenance
Mhm.
items that were like so many.
Yeah.
But then there, what I noticed too was that there were some things that had been done, like the turf had been replaced, because this was 2019, so,
Mhm.
there needs to be some things that are checked off that are done.
Right.
And then, and I can't remember for sure, but if anybody can correct me, I thought the bleachers are no longer wood. I thought they were now metal, or maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so, at the stadium.
At the
So they
stadium.
were saying that the bleachers, the wood
Yeah.
bleachers needed to be replaced, but my memory was that they were now metal, but I can't remember. Last time I was there was doing the faculty student, Olympics thing.
I don't know.
But, so that's why I'm saying we need to walk around and see, but we
I
definitely
think
want
they're
to.
metal,
Good.
but there is a lot of deterioration of the cement, I mean, when I walk up and down the stairs, if I'm going to a restaurant or whatever, I always take the stairs down and stairs back up and, well, I should do it more. But it's, we do have some significant.
One of the things that I really liked about what they're doing so far is that where a building where they know it just needs to be replaced, they're not bothering to do a seismic, spend the money on the seismic. So I think that that's wise. I mean, I think Brian's really thinking that through. It's like, why waste money on
Right.
this? We know we have to do it.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I think that's a good point. And in fact, trying to think what I read, I think it was in the 2018 Facilities Master Plan. There's a chart that talks about the conditions of the
Mhm.
building. So the conditions, the seismic may not be a huge problem, but the conditions
The
can be
condition.
so terrible.
Yeah.
And it goes through, it has different categories for exterior, plumbing.
Yeah.
Electric, utilities, and you start looking at that and think, whoa,
I know there's so much work to do.
it's.
Yeah.
We got issues.
Well, and it also, the facilities condition index tells you also what buildings can be renovated and what buildings have to be replaced, because once it's past 50%, sometimes you can make an argument, we had this debate at Valley College when we were trying to figure out what to do with the campus center that had the main auditorium Monarch Hall in it, and it was like at 53%.
Yeah.
And so it was like, do we not? And one of the issues there was that they had at least one shear wall was black steel, which I guess was an issue around asbestos and a few other things. And so that we went back and forth and back and forth. I think they made a decision after I left. I'm not sure what they decided, but I think as each year went by, it became less feasible to renovate versus replace.
And I know in the Fusion report, as they go through building by building, you
Mhm.
probably have seen at the bottom, the FCI.
Right.
Mhm.
is there. I don't know. I don't remember whether they have those numbers in the facilities master plan. But anyway.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
So does anybody else have a question about the facilities master plan, schedule? That sounds good if they're gonna get done in May.
Yeah.
Existing seismic reports, we talked about this quite a bit at the last board meeting
Yeah.
and,
And I think, it talks about how there are 3 new buildings, the newest campus-wide study. The West Campus is 2 new. Obviously, PE is one of the buildings that'll be replaced. And then the physical sciences building, we know that needs to be replaced. I think the question really is about the campus center.
I agree.
Because I went through that whole thing and it was kind of a, well, this, and then, well, this, and
A
so,
lot of.
yeah.
It was like
Sound wrong
fair,
with it.
and then,
But this
poor.
could be yeah, so I think that'll definitely be something that we would want to look at in terms of, is that a building that gets prioritized? If there's,
do I
If they're
recall that
not-
they did, in the last 10 years, so they did some sort of seismic, work on the campus center?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
I don't know when it was, but it was
Yeah.
recently, they did do some refurbishment, but if you walk around it,
Yeah,
it's visible to the naked eye,
Mhm,
the problems. You see places where the. cement is
Cracked
coming
and-
off
yeah.
and
mhm.
It's not good.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's definitely a building, and because it's it's a central building, it's highly used, and it has our cafeteria, it has the CESJ,
Yeah.
there's a lot, and our culinary program.
Yeah.
So
And
It's not an especially beautiful building though, so I really.
it's
feel
just
like
very
it-
dated.
Yeah, I feel like it could be
And
really
it
much better.
was all, but what I'm gonna say is all before our time.
Right.
I guess Cornelia was here,
60,
but the,
70s.
we gave up a lot of money.
Yeah, to
because
have it
We were
built.
gonna
have it done.
replace it, and just like we're talking about with the PE building, they turned back a bunch of
Mhm.
money.
That was between when I left and now, because we were never talking about replacing it when I was here.
I don't know what the dollar amounts are, I just know
Yeah.
that they were in the queue
Yeah,
to do it and decided they couldn't afford it.
yeah, but I think it is important to look at all of these things. We have to look at seismic, but we have to look at all the other components. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's been said already, but on seismic that, yeah, some buildings, we just don't need to do the more in-depth analysis. Some will be obvious and some, either way, some will be obvious that
Mhm.
they need work and some will be obvious that it's not a problem, so. Wake Center fire hydrant.
Yep, that is something that we have to do. We've been promising that we will do it so that it would be in the queue for us to use, deferred maintenance to get that done. We need to, as you see the list of things that have to happen. And you see DSA back check was returned to us on January 23rd, a few items. And so what happens with a back check is basically we've submitted the plans. They've given us some feedback. We've made some alterations and maybe asked questions and gave it back. So now there are a few remaining items. And so that's what we're cleaning up right now.
So DSA is that.
Department of the State Architect.
Thank you.
So every building that's built has to be approved by DSA.
Deferred maintenance, that's a line item in our budget,
Mm-hmm.
is it not?
Mhm.
That's true.
And how do we,
So the state gives us money for deferred maintenance.
that's
Yeah,
on top of our,
well, it's part of what we get.
Yeah.
And it used to be called IELM money because it was both deferred maintenance as well as instructional materials. So it was a little bit of both. Bless you. And there was a while there where colleges had to decide, oh, okay, they're giving us, $6 million in deferred maintenance and IELM. How are we going to separate it out? It's not, it's a little more separated now, but the reason that it's problematic is that last year they gave us a lot of deferred maintenance
give me an
money.
idea of Tens of millions.
They gave us, off the top of my head, I don't recall.
Yeah.
But what happened was that was part of the budget cut, is that we spent it, we started spending it, and then they said, oh, by the way, we're gonna take some of that money back and we're gonna give it to you this year. And so in some cases, some colleges had already spent it all. But you have 2 years to spend deferred maintenance money. So what happens is colleges will get a certain amount and then we'll plan out for 2 years how we're gonna spend it. And so at one point, a few years ago, the chancellor's office said, oh, well, why are we giving you all this deferred maintenance? Because you don't appear to be spending it. Like,
That's why I was saying with our reserves, it's like they look at that and they're like,
Yeah.
we don't need,
well, they are kind of doing that. But with deferred maintenance, I think when I was at Valley still, our advocacy argument was, yes, you gave us this money, we have 2 years to spend it, and here's how we planned it out. And so that's one reason why it's really deceptive for folks to look at the deferred maintenance and say, oh, colleges aren't spending it. Like, well, we are spending it. It's just, we can't spend it overnight and we have 2 years.
So we have 2 years to do it, but we get a separate allocation every year.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And DSA stands for again?
Department of the State Architect.
Thank you.
Okay. Main campus in Triop.
Okay, that's,
Triop.
yeah, so the idea behind the main campus, the city is upgrading Cliff. And so they came to us and said, we'll work with you on this. And the problem is that we need money in order to do this. So there are two options here. One is $2.8 million and then the minimal is 1.6 million. Now, the good news is that we don't have to do this for the next few years. Like the city is still doing their part and they're getting some grant money of some sort to do part of theirs. So they know that we need to do this and that we want to do this. The question is, what the timing is. We don't know.
Do we need to wait for them to complete their work before we would do anything?
I think that's a big question. I think that's something Brian's talking to the city about is what's the order in which this can be done?
Okay.
Because we definitely want, it's hard to know that you're coming to Santa Barbara City College. Like when you're coming up over Cliff, like you can't, even if you're coming up the road, it's not obvious that you're turning into Santa Barbara City College. Like, it, right? In the same thing the other direction, but like if you were at PCC, for example, which is on
The signage, we need better signage.
we need better signage, and part of that is this, it's kind of an awkward place. So I think we should try to figure out everything we can do to do some, one version of this, plus it's in keeping with the city.
I think it's important. I think what the entrance looks like is our face to the community.
Yeah,
Because they don't, unless there are students here or faculty or have some event here, they haven't really been on campus, but it's important the community can see, our presence, and they can't really see that. I noticed today going in the
in the West Campus.
West Campus, you don't even see, that sign is.
It sneaks up on you.
Yeah, well, it's because of the coloring or something, you just don't even see it, and yes, Dylan.
Well, I would like to notice that there's a big difference between the original plan, which is just making it, work with the city, and $2.8
$8 million.
million, make it look good. That's over $1 million in terms of making it look good. If that's just landscaping, I'll come in landscape.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I can do it for $1,000 and it'll look great.
I think it's a little more
More
than
than-
that. I think it's a little more than that. And the maps that are in there, I think one thing is getting a light there, which would make a huge difference in terms
Yeah.
of getting people out.
Would we have? to
No, that's part of, the
City,
light there is part of what we're gonna do anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
but the city pays for the light.
I don't know.
No.
No, they're not. No, we have to pay for the light.
We talked about this last year.
Mhm.
We have to pay for.
Yeah.
That's a huge expense.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, when, at UCSB, when we got that Henley Gate, it
Mhm.
was a similar thing coming up 217, where there was, there was nothing but this little kiosk. And then they got this big gate, so I mean, it could be like a naming opportunity too, once
Mhm.
we get it, going, but you should see it, this is this big, Henley Gate, and it, stretches, it's like a little arc over when you come.
Is it
down.
called Henley because it was a
Because
gift?
Mr. Henley
Oh,
gave
okay.
money and also gave money for another building or something. Exactly.
Mhm.
And it was, and I was just thinking, because when you're coming up, Cliff to come into the main, to East Campus where we are now, there is, there is nothing. And it could be easy to just have, some kind of little, canopy or something that you are
Mhm.
entering City College, or some, doesn't have to say you're entering, but something, that lets.
A little more regal
Yeah.
than what you have there. Yeah.
The other, I'll bet a big portion of, the money here is repaving
Hmm.
on the east campus, they patched it.
Or West Campus, yeah.
Campus, I mean, they
did
repatched it,
But
which
that's not gonna
is-
last.
which is okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a rough, they need to dig up that whole,
Yeah, we can't slurry anymore. We have
No.
to actually dig up and set the pavement. That's part of the problem is the pavement is not good.
awful.
Mhm.
Anything you put on there is just gonna crack because of the foundation. is
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And then the Faculty Resource Center. That is, and we have Rob Brown here from the Faculty Resource Center. This might be
Hello.
why he's here. Rob, do you have any comments to make about the Faculty Resource Center?
It's a wonderful place full of happiness and joy.
I love
Actually, the only thing I will say is that the plans that are in the folder, there is a new one that is not
Oh.
up to date. So
that. Okay. So we'll make a note of that and make sure the new one. Can you describe what the differences are for our crew here?
a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, the office placement is completely different. And we're actually meeting next week to talk
Okay.
about it more. So it's sort of kind of irrelevant to go into a lot of details. But I just
Okay.
wanted to note that the one that's in there, and Brian has the updated one from the architect.
Okay, well, do you know when that came in by any chance, Rob? The
Let me
updated
look.
one?
Was it beginning of December, Brian?
He's not here.
He's not here.
Oh,
Yes, Rob, it was in December.
It was in December.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, it was like early December.
Hey, Beth.
who did we hear from there?
Hey there.
Okay. Okay, so we'll make sure we get the new plan. And that's the one for the space up in the LRC.
Correct. Yeah, the office placement is incorrect in a lot of spaces there.
Okay,
So it's too much to like be, oh, let's just move this here. No, it's a lot more than that.
okay, I'll talk to Brian and make sure we get the correct one in there. Okay.
Good.
But we definitely need to move the FRC because it's down in a temporary under the bridge.
Anna?
Yeah, and we don't have any updated costs yet.
Okay,
Yeah, it was the 15th of December. I just found it.
Oh, great.
thank you.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, well, then we can move on to the ESL relocation.
Mhm. And that's again, a status update that we did move dual enrollment onto the second floor of the Student Services Building. And we moved ESL over to the Humanities Building. As you see, we're waiting for some furniture to still come. We have the ESL Success Center up and going. And that was, we needed to move everybody out of the temporary and
It had mold or something.
yep, and so that will be taken down and at least right now that's gonna be green space for at least for right now.
It's really it's a temporary building, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's one of
yeah.
the- it's one of the
Modular.
modular.
It's one of the modular
Yeah.
buildings that again has come to the end of.
So it's now empty and the next thing is get rid of it.
Is to take it down,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's new enough that, we don't have to worry about mitigating asbestos or anything like that, because that's often what causes it to take a long time. Mhm.
Okay, Any questions about,
Well, I'm just glad to see it happen.
yeah, solar microgrid project? I think this is interesting. I first heard about microgrids, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. They were talking about it for
Mm-hmm.
the city of Goleta. I don't know that it ever really happened, but the concept is, it's taking a bunch of different small grids and tying them together and
Yeah,
making, and then you eventually connect up to the main grids. But we have a big, I assume the concept here, we have a big space here. We have a lot of buildings
mm-hmm.
where there can be solar panels and where a grid could really be developed.
And we have solar arrays that are not currently working.
I
And
heard
so
that,
these
yes.
would take the place of that. And that's one of the reasons that we've hired NV5. You did authorize them to do a feasibility study. And there's an account in the foundation that's specifically for environmental things like this. And that's what's paying the $25,000 for the feasibility study.
Anna?
So we have some solar panels that are at the end of life. So what is the lifespan of these panels? Is it just that they were among the first generation and now it's time to replace them, or?
I think in some cases, because a lot of those weren't here when I was here, I think in a lot of cases, they broke and were never fixed. And now the technology.
Ones on over the parking.
Mhm.
Just
And
residential is usually about 20 years.
So industrial must be a little bit better.
yeah, but my understanding is these haven't worked in quite a while.
And it's not a matter of getting them to work again. It's a
I don't
matter
think so. Yeah. And especially with the technology, if you can do a microgrid, like we could probably generate so much more power with the technology changing as quickly as it
Yeah.
is.
That's again, okay.
Okay, good.
Happening,
the next
that's
one.
already happening.
That feasibility study is
Yeah.
happening.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to
That'll
plan
come
for
back
it.
to us.
Yes.
Great.
Mhm.
So the next one, cell tower site project with Verizon.
Yep.
The good news here, as I understand, is it's not costing us anything.
No, it's not. This
Yeah.
is all Verizon, and it says the subcontractor was out here the other day, or Verizon was out here doing, the initial kind of layout, because they have to go through a permitting process that apparently is like a year long with the
Okay.
city. So this is gonna be a long time in coming, but it will increase the cell service around here, which they're hoping for.
Remember, when we were talking about this, there was like concern about community objection to having it obstruct their property or whatever.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering, has anything else been done on our behalf to help the community get buy-in from the community?
we're
Or is
so,
that
yeah,
on
that's,
Verizon right now.
well, I think that's on Verizon and us together, but I think we're not at that point in the
Yeah, okay.
conversation because we don't even know what the city's gonna do. So I think they want to do a little more permitting, or at least put in for that. But we absolutely have to involve the community. We have to, I think we should have a forum, a town
Yes,
hall or
yes,
something like
yeah.
that, invite the community in
Yeah.
to give them an opportunity. But if you look at the plan, it's not too, I think it won't stick out too much. And there's also the possibility of maybe we could encourage them to do a microgrid for their generator, because they would have to have a backup generator to make sure the cell tower works, even in case of an emergency.
I just wanted to mention that because,
Yeah.
Santa Barbara has a pretty big kind of NIMBY
Yes.
attitude.
Yeah.
Not in my backyard thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good idea, but not in my backyard, and so
Yeah.
we need to kind of be mindful of that.
I'll ask, I know Brian talked to the person last week, so I'll find out when that's planned.
Yeah, I see there that it does seem like they have a lot more work to do before they move forward. As
Yeah.
mentioned, site.
Yeah, it's not happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Okay.
But it's
Bye,
great.
baby.
It's great to have it. I mean, at Valley, I had a pretty big Verizon tower and I got $30,000 a year from it. So it was nice. I don't know. That's a good question. I think so.
I'm tired of getting one bar, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah. I know.
You know?
I get it.
In a way, it's a good place for it because, you know, people who are concerned about having these towers too close to their home are concerned because they think they might cause cancer and things like that. So this way we're away from families, you know, we're away enough from families. The biggest,
Well, they'll benefit, won't they?
Yeah.
People in the
Yeah,
area
'cause it's a
benefit.
tower.
so the biggest health hazard is to the people that work here every day, 9 to 5, like you guys.
Mhm.
If there is really.
If
Right,
there is.
right, if there is,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't, you know, in my neighborhood, they were talking about once putting in a battery project and there were a number of health concerns and we live right near a power plant called the Peaker plant. It comes into play if we lose power from the main source.
Oh,
Yeah. And we had we were trying to get it shut down. We were
Of
trying.
course you were.
Yeah, we're trying to raise,
I was
we were trying to raise health concerns, and so, I don't know, we spent some time looking into that, it's pretty kind of iffy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
The research,
for a power line, then there was talk about a cell tower going in, and we were all conflicted about that, because
Yeah.
we kind of wanted the cell tower.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any health concerns about
Yeah.
about
Okay,
that.
good. I just know I read about it, but, you know, yeah.
I
Okay,
think the good outweighs the bad.
anything else on that?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Antioch, we've already talked.
Yeah, and basically what that is that they're kind of looking long-term at, do they need more offices? What do they need? They're very happy in their classrooms. They were really happy last week during the event that we had. I think this is just let's put the finishing touches on thinking about it. You know, we've got a 2-year lease that we're in the process of negotiating, but for them, you know, is this a 2-year lease or are they really thinking, this is gonna be 2 years, 5 years, what have you? So I think it's really just taking a look at it. And it was great to have the provost from LA here because he was actually getting a tour and seeing what the campus looked like. So Brian and I are gonna reach out and have a conversation and then we'll revisit like, okay, what does that look like?
Mhm. And then you'll take it to PNR like we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Great.
So it mentions in the last, near the end of the Antioch discussion, the
Mhm.
2023-24 Fusion Space Utilization Report. Is that, is that in our? I assume
Yeah,
that-
this is the fusion report, right? Oh, no, this is the,
This is
yeah.
the fusion report at the very back. We have the facilities report and then the master paper,
But it's- but
like a piece of blue paper. And then it switches to the fusion.
Right, but this is the 2018, but I
Right.
think that's what they're looking at validating is looking at the 23-24 fusion.
Space
Yeah, so
utilization, which is
that's
different from what we got.
well, it is, it's just that one's not, nobody's completely
Yours
looked
must
at
be
that.
yellow.
So this is 2018.
Right.
Oh.
That's your fusion report.
The utilization report?
It's called fusion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, this is a
But
two-
that's the 2018,
Yeah, we don't
but
have the
they're,
20.
We're
right,
talking
because
about
they're
20.
working on the 23-24.
Yeah, but
Oh, it's not
that-
done yet.
no, it's.
Right.
not.
That's
It-
why we don't have. it.
That's,
Okay,
my understanding is that it's not ready for prime time,
okay.
that there is a report, but they're trying to look
Okay.
at it to figure out where the mistakes are and that.
Okay, because it says here it shows
Yeah.
such and such, so I.
But I think there's a need to validate it because we're not sure that it's been updated, how much it's been updated since 2018.
You mean how much of the work has been done? Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
we don't know, so we want to validate what's in.
What's worse, what's better? Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
And
Okay,
then is this the May thing that's gonna be presented to us in May?
no, that's the facilities master
Oh,
plan.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is different. Okay, so we need to get a deadline probably on.
Well, the fusion is part of the conversation with the sustainability work group because they're looking at, how rooms are used and some of that data comes from that. The other part comes from enrollments. So I think they're looking at that from several different angles.
When will that report come out?
That's what I was definitely.
Well, I think we have another meeting to go over the executive summary and the final bits of information. And I think have we scheduled that? Is this the next one?
Budget sustainability?
Mhm.
I don't believe so, but I can double check. that.
Okay, I think there's one coming up, but they were fine tuning because Cornelia had asked for the latest report because she wanted to share it. And George and his team was like, no, we're working on some on finalizing some information in there. So the goal is to finish the process because we've been working on it a long time.
We do not have a meeting scheduled. yet.
Okay, and I think they were just trying to make sure they had the finished product.
Right.
Before. Yeah.
Okay, next topic is Pershing Park
Yeah.
play turf discussions, and Erica, if you could just give us first a little background on what that property is. And
Yeah, so that's the property where we play baseball and softball. It's down on the corner
below
of,
us here.
yeah, it's below us. And there's also the Carriage Museum. And Foresters is
How
a
about the
team.
there's tennis courts.
Yeah, there's tennis courts. Foresters is a team that also plays there.
Right.
And then one day a year, for the Fiesta Parade,
The horses.
the horses are there.
This is city property. Is it?
It's city property that we're co-located on.
Okay.
So Brian and I actually talked to Randy this morning at the Partners in Education meeting because we were thinking that we were going to try to figure out, let's have a nonprofit entity that oversees that property, and we could figure out how to do some fundraising, get city funds, get all these, all kinds of things to completely renovate that and manage it, because the softball fields need work, the baseball fields need work, the horses tear up the fields, the grass once a year. And, tennis courts, parking, all of that. So we had been thinking, maybe what we should do is figure out how to get turf there. And then UCSB was denied by the Coastal Commission. So that kind of stopped everything in our tracks, because the thought was if we were to have artificial turf there, that would help with the horses, wouldn't rip up we could have a longer life with it. So Brian has followed up with some other folks in the city to try to see what we can do, because this would be a good partnership, because it's in everybody's interest for these fields to be well utilized and to be kept up. And right now they're not.
I don't think artificial turf, I read this and I don't think artificial turf is the answer, I don't think it's good for the environment, first of all. It doesn't, it doesn't give anything back to the environment. And I think the horses would tear it up after a year or two anyway, and then it would be very expensive to.
Well, there's apparently something you can put over it to protect it for that one event.
Well, couldn't we just do that with grass?
I would imagine so, but this is what Randy and I were talking about
Yeah.
today.
I'm really in favor of keeping it grass. I just feel like artificial turf. After a couple of years, it just doesn't look very good. It's hot, it gets really hot.
Are they talking about just the baseball field or more than just?
I think they're talking about, I haven't seen any proposed
Yeah.
plan myself, but I think they're talking about a little bit more than that. But whatever that decision is going to impact whether or not we're ever able to replace our football field. Because it's turf, it's artificial turf.
We're fortunate that we were able to do that
When we did it.
because the Coastal Commission wouldn't look
You
there.
guys have fake grass too?
In the
We did,
La Playa,
down there.
Yeah, down there, yeah. I just wanted to say that artificial turf is not the same as what it used to be. Now, I don't know all of the chemical and, synthetic kind of makeup specifically, but the old artificial turf that you looked at it and it was clear that
Mhm.
the artificial turf today, you can hardly tell it's not grass. Now, I don't know what that means for its,
Mhm.
sustainability and environmental footprint and impact.
Yeah,
But I'm telling you, the way that that stuff looks today like grass, and it's amazing.
Well, that
So,
would be something I would be interested in.
I would
you
be
know, like,
interested in finding out
what is
thinking about doing for my
its
home.
environmental
Oh, and for
impact,
my-
and the
Mhm.
difference, because,
Yeah.
I mean, grass takes a lot of water
Yeah.
and artificial turf doesn't. But
What's the trade?
well, we're pretty far from any decisions being made. I think right now what we need to do is figure out, can we come together as an entity and figure out how to upgrade that property so that it works for the city,
Yeah,
so that it
yeah,
works for
yeah.
us, it works for.
who runs the Carriage Museum? Isn't that a group too?
I
Isn't there
think
a
it
group
is, but I
out there?
don't know
Yeah.
for sure. I think it's a group.
Yeah, because they're there.
I'd love to be in on that meeting.
Yeah, so,
The foresters, they should want to be in on this.
well, I think they do want to be in on this.
Yeah.
They definitely do. I think that's the question is, what are the next steps? And when Jeff Green was here, one of the things he was talking about, which I think folks have had some support for, was, is there a way to pull together a nonprofit that could oversee it like Elings Park? You know, that kind of.
I think that'd be great.
So I think that's what we're working on. It's just we have to figure out what's our role. If that can happen, what's our role? Because
Mhm.
we definitely have a vested interest in the softball field and the baseball
There's
field.
there's like a small band shell that I think was
Mhm.
Yeah,
renovated recently.
there is one there.
Mhm.
Yeah, is that part of the?
Yeah.
this-
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that whole property that goes
Yeah.
from,
That whole property.
from,
Mhm.
what's the street there? Cabrillo.
That's Cabrillo.
Down
Mhm.
down
To the pool, to the Los Baños pool. It's on the other side of the street.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, unless there's some more questions about that, we can talk about, what's our next item, future items.
Yeah, future items. Are there other things you'd like to see on an agenda?
Well, I mean, the big one is bond.
Yeah.
And what we need a meeting I think, to talk about in specifics, what are the steps that we have to go through and what decisions do we have to make and when?
Okay,
And I think that kind of even comes before, doesn't it? The consideration of what actually would be in the bond. But
Mhm.
I mean, I think we have to have a good understanding of what is the process. I mean, you got the poll and you've got,
yeah,
the last time we did this, business, I think Lindsay was still here and they prepared 3 bond scenarios for us.
mhm,
The 200 million, 250 million, 300 million. Did it today, it's probably, those same projects are probably 300, 350 and 400. I mean, they're
At
probably,
least.
probably a lot more, but anyway, that was. At some point, we probably need that, but we're not close to that.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not, but just to figure out what it is we have to do and when, that's, I think we should have a good understanding.
So I feel like we need to start on this whole thing sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
because we need to start educating the community as to what our needs are.
Mhm.
We can't just give it to them like, here it is.
No, no,
And
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it and although it's not very sexy, I think that one of the things that everybody can relate to is that our plumbing is horrible.
Mhm.
And we need to redo our plumbing. We need to renovate our plumbing. Now, that's something that I think every homeowner understands how the infrastructure of this college is 50, 60, 70 years old. And
Well, that and paving and the things that are very visible. I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
Especially.
I mean, some of it I think is, more aesthetic. But some of it is just like really basic. I mean, if you have plumbing that
Yeah.
you
Well,
can't.
when we did a poll in 2022, were you on the board then?
Nope.
No. Okay, so we had a poll done and the fellow who did the poll called True North,
Mhm.
name of the company. And he was kind of a messaging guru as well. And I remember him talking to us about the things you want to talk about and the things you don't want to talk about. And I assume we'll go through that same conversation with our consultant this time, but the number one thing that was said was you gotta talk about, you know, the things that need fixing, like you're talking about, you know, and the utilities, just all kinds of things. We'll have to have a whole list of them. We'll have to have the talking points that include all those things. I mean, I think eventually we'll have a sheet that
Yeah,
has our talking points that
Yes.
when we're out talking, when Eric is out talking, we're saying the same thing.
But this is only really, 9 months away. We're
Well, I know, but
10 months, yeah.
we can't do it until we know what buildings we're talking about.
Yeah,
We can't
no, I
really-
agree.
So,
and it'll be easier to put together than you think it is, just because it's not like we started an FMP from scratch. Like we
Right.
had the working piece. And there are things we know, like we know infrastructure, we know the PE building, we know the physical science building.
The campus center.
Campus center, student services, the shot in the wake paving and, all of these things. I think the thing is that's the value of the FMP is that we have a coordinated, consolidated list. And then based on what we heard from the poll, and how they asked the questions, we can look at the list and say, okay, this might be good, this might not be good. And a good example from PCC was that originally when we were looking at bond language, there was a push to potentially say, well, we definitely want a satellite campus in Rosemead. Well, the bond polling told us it was okay to mention a satellite campus, but don't mention the town. Because if you're a voter in San Marino, or if you're a voter in La Cañada, because there are 8 cities in this area, you don't care about a satellite campus in Rosemead. That's not your interest. So that could potentially become a liability for it.
Yeah,
And so it's that kind of strategizing.
thinking that through a little bit further, the last bond, my own personal opinion, and it's not based on anything except for the people that I know. There was a feeling that the shot and the wake were being consumed by the main campus, that programs from the main campus were going to be moving over to the shot and the
Oh,
wake.
interesting.
And that adult ed wasn't being preserved for its own sake. And so I feel like really enhancing the importance of the shot and the wake are so important.
Absolutely.
And the programs that they currently house, because those are voters, those are key voters. The people that-
And those are really important locations for the
Yeah.
college. Those are campuses. And I'm trying to move towards, we refer to this campus as the Cliff campus.
Mhm.
And then the shot and
I
the,
like that idea.
and
instead
the
of
main
main
campuses,
and-
not the main,
That
because then
idea, 'cause-
that makes everything else seem like it's an outpost.
Yeah.
So this is the Cliff campus
Right.
and then shot and wake.
let me, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got the future topics, we got bond
Mhm.
with plumbing and I thought our main emphasis as we are looking at how to sell it is, safety and wellness. Those are
Mhm.
key foci for
Yeah.
really kind of
I like that.
prioritizing.
I think that's really
Yeah,
good.
safety and well- and then
Yeah.
and then the other thing I wanted is the committee's campus tours to the cliff, to the shot, to the wake and cosmetology. I really think we should, and make it clear, we're here to really check it out because we want.
Mhm. Okay.
Maybe that's something we could even do before Brian's ready to meet with us.
That's what, that's what I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Because so that's on my list in the future, the camp.
And
the
if we have our
community
new
campus
directors of the foundation,
Mhm.
that person might like to go with us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Mhm.
that
Good
person's
idea.
gonna be a key person. in
Say that
ours.
again.
Well, if the new director is already here from
Of the foundation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
we should include
Oh,
that
yeah.
person in
Sure.
the tour.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tours.
And we did several couple tours with the
Foundation.
foundation, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
We didn't see a whole lot. I went on the first one. But it was a very good event. I mean, they all loved it. They all
Mhm.
really appreciated it.
Yeah,
Well, then we should invite whoever wants to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
from the foundation because they are very important in terms of
Mhm.
raising
Yeah.
some of this money.
yeah, and I think another thing, plumbing and things like that, there's also the ADA path of travel, like,
Oh,
that's really.
that's so
key.
key.
Really
It's really key, because I don't know when we last did that kind of study, but,
Because some of the
I
buildings,
can-
clearly it's like not ADA compliant. and,
or
you know.
just the walkways to get here are not compliant.
PE building has as we've been told several times, there's a Title IX issue because the
Mhm.
facilities aren't adequate
Yes,
for,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and Eric and I were talking, a lot of the elevators don't work.
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
the bond,
Mhm.
all this comes under.
Okay.
Health and safety, I really like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
safety and wellness.
Anything else?
I think that's enough.
Okay.
We want to be realistic with the.
Let me just,
Back, somebody's back.
before we're,
Oh, I thought.
before.
no, we just took down the document.
Before you're done, let me just, if I might, just
Yeah.
give you an
Liz
example.
joined us, I think.
Yeah.
Well, she might have been here the whole
Let
time.
let me give you an example of one of these scenarios we were looking at to show you how quickly the money adds up. We had this was the biggest. This was the biggest amount, 300 million. Included the PE building, student services, physical science building, same buildings we're talking about now. Then they had the children's center renovation.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
had swing space for Wake campus, new buildings to replace the portables.
Mhm.
Wake renovation, swing space for Scott, new building
For shop.
to replace,
Mhm.
Shot, what'd I say?
Scott, it was,
Shot, I mean, for the Shot campus, Shot renovation. And then there was a category for just safety, wayfinding, security cameras,
Mm.
general infrastructure on campus. Okay, so that doesn't include a whole lot of buildings.
Yes, it does.
Well, yes and not, well, but that was the biggest one.
Mhm.
And then when you started talking about paring it down,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
and we, my guess is that, I don't know, I don't wanna prejudge what we'll do, but
No, we have to wait for that.
but then you got to the smallest project and the Shot renovation was gone. Wake work was still there, but then it had the PE building, student services, physical science, children's center. Now, I don't know why, we haven't talked about children's center. I don't know why that was given priority in that.
Well,
scenario.
because nothing has been done to it. It's an old building and nothing has been done to it ever. There've been no renovations according to the Fusion report.
Yeah.
There was talk of a renovation to expand the kitchen, and that never happened. I think the only renovation really was when they put up the shade, that sunshade thing, because we had to get GFA approval, but other than that, no, there really has been nothing.
It has
done.
a FCI, the facility condition index of 62%, which is fairly high. So
Mhm.
higher than all the other buildings we were. So I think that's the kind of thing we'll be
yeah, we'll be grappling with.
grappling with at some point.
Mhm.
Anything else?
I think this was a good meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
got good information.
awesome. Hopefully I got it right. If I didn't, I'll let you know.
I think you got
Well, unfortunately, it didn't work for Brian to be here because really Brian's but he was already planned to be out of town for this week, but
Oh, okay.
I'll make sure I review, if there's any corrections or anything, I'll let you know, but I think I got it right.
Okay, very good.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right, thank
Andy.
you.
Thanks for serving.
welcome.
others, Chair.
Yes.
And wanting to be with.
Right.
Hey, this is